Welcome to iScope Media. We know the Aam Aadmi Party of Punjab had given the 5 nominations for the Rajya Sabha, and that has sparked criticism. The Aam Aadmi Party on Monday, that is 21st March, announced 5 nominees for the upcoming Rajya Sabha vacancies in Punjab. Well, given the AAP's strong majority in Punjab Assembly, these 5 are almost certain to get elected to the upper house of the parliament. The 5 nominees are: first is cricketer Harbhajan Singh. Then we have AAP's Punjab in charge and Delhi MLA Raghav Chadha. We also have AAP strategist and former IIT academic Sandeep Pathak. Then we have Ashok Mittal, the Chancellor of the lovely professional university. And on 5th, we have Ludhiana-based industrialist and philanthropist Sanjeev Arora. Well, now, why has there been criticism on AAP's choices? The nominations have sparked some criticism on social media on the following lines. The fact that none of the 5 would-be Rajya Sabha members have a track record of raising issues related to Punjab. The second, we have 2 of them, Chadha and Pathak, are not even from Punjab. Third, we have the women, Sikhs, Dalits, and the OBCs have been left underrepresented by the AAP pretty much the same way it did in the Rajya Sabha seats from Delhi. Well, a few people suggested that AAP could have considered eminent people with a track record of speaking out on issues concerning Punjab, such as writer and poet Sandeep Pathak, human rights activist Paramjit Kaur Khalra, and water conservation activist Balbir Singh Sichewal. Meanwhile, journalist Gursham Shir Singh tweeted an older video of Bhagwan Man in which he is saying that people who have made sacrifices for the sake of Punjab should be sent to the Rajya Sabha, and in this context, he specifically mentions Bibi Khalra. All the allegations have an element of truth. However, it is not that other parties aren't guilty of the similar practices earlier. Well, for instance, if we take an example, in 2020, the Congress sent K.C. Venugopal to the Rajya Sabha from Rajasthan, even though he is from Kerala. The Bharatiya Janata Party sent 2 Malayalis, K.J. Alphonse and V. Muralidharan, to the Rajya Sabha from Rajasthan and Maharashtra, respectively, and Hardeep Puri, a Delhite, to the upper house from Uttar Pradesh. Well, parties like Congress, Shiromani Akali Dal, and BJP have also not given space to the eminent Punjabis in the Rajya Sabha choices earlier. So, in that sense, AAP has proved to be no different. However, it is true that by and large, parties in Punjab have avoided sending outsiders to the Rajya Sabha from the state. In the past, only Congress's Ashwini Kumar did have a very strong connection to the Punjab. The party had also sent controversial leader Vinod Sharma to the Rajya Sabha from Punjab, though even he had a Punjab connection by the virtue of being a former MLA from Banur. Well, buoyed by the massive mandate, AAP seems to have deviated a bit from this by nominating 2 outsiders in the same term. It is important to flag this deviation as Punjab is a state where identity, federalism, and interstate disputes matter in politics. It remains to be seen how effectively non-Punjabis and apolitical nominees, such as the 5 people chosen by AAP, represent the state on such contentious matters. Well, now let's have a look at the various patterns behind the Rajya Sabha choices. Why has there been such Rajya Sabha choices, and what are the patterns behind it? First, we take a look at the division of the cloud between Kejriwal and Man. Well, there may have been some kind of an understanding between the AAP convener Arvind Kejriwal and the newly elected Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwan Man. It appears that Man called the shots on the cabinet appoints, while Kejriwal seems to have decided the Rajya Sabha names. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the second reason, that is the loyalists rewarded. Both the outsiders rewarded with the Rajya Sabha seat, Raghav Chadha and Sandeep Pathak, have been loyal party functionaries and played a key role in AAP's Punjab campaign. Chadha may continue to serve as a link between the Punjab government and the AAP's Delhi leadership. As a Rajya Sabha MP from Punjab, Chadha will have a toehold in the state. Well, Pathak, who handled AAP's backroom, has now shifted focus to Gujarat as the party's Prabhari of the state. Besides being the co-in charge for the Congress along with the Delhi MLA, Jarnail Singh. In Delhi too, one of the Rajya Sabha seats was given to the party loyalist Sanjay Singh. Now, if we take a look at the third reason, that is businessmen. In Delhi, AAP had sent businessman Sushil Gupta and chartered accountant ND Gupta to the Rajya Sabha. In Punjab, it has sent Ashok Kumar Mittal of the Jalandhar-based Lovely Group and Ludhiana-based industrialist Sanjeev Arora. Arora is a director in the Ritesh Properties and Industries, Ritesh Spinning Miles, and Ritesh Impex, among many other companies. Like in the case of Delhi, the nomination of the industrialist has given rise to the allegations that these are linked to the AAP's funding. Now, we also have the celebrity factor here. Well, cricketer Harbhajan Singh is the only Sikh among the AAP's Rajya Sabha nominees. He was being wooed by both Congress and the BJP in the run-up to the elections, but kept his distance from the parties and now has clearly thrown his lot with AAP. Many in Punjab are questioning his track record of speaking up for the state. However, Harbhajan Singh is a nationally recognizable face for AAP, and the party's reason for nominating him seems more to do with its national calculations than consideration in Punjab. Now, we also have a look at the reason of diversity, not a factor for AAP in Rajya Sabha. Out of the 8 Rajya Sabha MPs chosen by AAP, 7 are upper caste Hindu men, leaving out women, minorities, and oppressed caste almost entirely. The only exception is cricketer Harbhajan Singh, who is a Sikh and belongs to a community that mostly comes under the OBC category. Well, the lack of diversity in the Rajya Sabha choices is in the contrast to the cabinet, in which 40% ministers are Dalit, and the new finance minister Harbhajan is also a Dalit. Now let's have a look at the big picture. The big picture emerging out of the AAP's Rajya Sabha choices. Punjab is done and dusted. Man's team is in place and has got down to work. Now, the party's entire focus is its national expansion, and some of its resources from Punjab, such as the Rajya Sabha seats, will now be used to that end. The non-selection of prominent voices who raise issues concerning Punjab or Sikhs also seem to indicate AAP's fear that this may harm its national expansion and make it appear less mainstream. Well, now here we are left with one major question arising. What does the choice of Rajya Sabha candidates of AAP indicate in the Indian politics? A lot was said about AAP of Punjab respecting about caste, religion sensitivities in cabinet formation. But well, 4 Hindus, 2 of them non-Punjabis and 1 Sikh, no Jat, no Dalit, no Muslim or Christian. But if what AAP said was applied, then what about AAP's these 4 Rajya Sabha faces? We are left behind with this question. Well, stay with us. We'll bring you more interesting such topics to talk upon. This is Aparna Singh reporting for iScope Media.